Hello, artists. It's Kelly Folsom here, and I want to welcome you back to another Art Life Conversations podcast. Super excited again this week because we have another amazing question that got emailed in today that we're going to cover, and that is, does it matter where you live to make it as an artist? And before we dive into that, just so you guys know, we have a quick word from our sponsor, and that sponsor is Moi, Kelly Folsom. But just want to let you know, if you have not yet picked up my 30 Ways to Master Still Life Painting, you can do so on my website, artlifewithkelly, KELLI.com, or you can grab it at Amazon. And also, we have an amazing upcoming 5-day still life painting challenge starting March 28th. It's going to be awesome. Lots of prizes that we're going to give away at the end of that, plus 5 days of really amazing instruction to, reignite that creative fire in your soul, in your heart, in your soul, inspire you every single day. These are going to be short and sweet, right? So that you can get the meat and potatoes, get what you need, and then get back to doing your own work. All right, so I hope you will join me for that. I'm so looking forward to that. It's going to be an awesome, awesome week of painting with everybody. So go to artlifewithkelly.com and you can get signed up for that. And when you sign up, you can get your materials list if you want to use exactly what I'm using that week. All right, so let's dive in to this topic. Does it matter where you live to make it as an artist? So we have a question here from Kelly from Oklahoma, which is a little surreal because I'm Kelly from Oklahoma, so I kind of feel like I'm talking to myself. But Kelly emailed in and she says, "Hi Kelly, thank you for sharing your thoughts on your podcast. I enjoy and look forward to listening to your opinions, experience, and knowledge. You've been a huge inspiration." Yay! Thank you so much, Kelly. That's awesome. Question, does it matter where you live to make it as an artist? Once someone told my mother that I was going to have to leave my state of Oklahoma in order to make it as an artist. I've noticed a lot of good artists have left in the last 5 years. Okay. So I'm not sure when this person, made this comment to your mother about that. It really depends on the time. Maybe 30 years ago, even 20 years ago, that may have been true, right? But really the beauty of living right now, 2022, on this magnificent planet, and especially in the United States, is that you really can live anywhere. You can really live anywhere in the world and make a really good living from your art. And the reason why is because we have the internet, the amazing internet, right? But it really is incredible. It's such a miraculous thing. And it really gives us the ability to connect with anybody around the world at any point in time. And that means to sell our art, through e-commerce. We can, ship paintings. I mean, it has never been easier to be able to live anywhere we choose, anywhere we want to live, and still make it as an artist, okay? So it's totally not true that you would have to leave Oklahoma. I'm not sure why, some of the other artists have left. I know I left, but for a lot of different reasons other than that. So I'll just kind of share some of my past experience with you guys to kind of help flesh out this topic a little bit more. So, there are going to be, it depends on what kind of art career or art life you want to have in terms of whether a place is really going to be conducive, for that, right? So, for example, where I went to art college was in Connecticut, okay, up in the Northeast, and I will say that that environment was very art rich, right? Like there was art museum. I mean, you could get in the car and drive 30 minutes and hit an amazing art museum and then drive 30 minutes this way and 30 minutes that way, so there was so many art museums. There was so many art associations. Again, same scenario. Everything was so close up there. You could hop on a train in 2 hours, be in New York, 2 hours, be in Boston, A couple more hours be in Philadelphia or DC. So because of the proximity of everything and the art-rich culture up there in that area, there was just a lot more opportunities. Maybe you might call it like low-hanging fruit that was available for artists. I know for me, after I graduated, I participated in various, art shows. There were so many art associations. You could sign up to be a member of them and then enter your work for, gosh, they would have different juried shows, every couple of months, every few months, they would be having a different show. So you could be exhibiting all year long in various organizations, all your different paintings. And of course, not to mention, of course, galleries and things like that. But even without galleries up there in that area, there was so much that you could participate in with as an artist and make painting sales and make a living without having to be represented by galleries either. So it was really kind of an interesting place to live. And then, of course, you had so many other artists and art museums and things like that. So if that sort of thing really feeds your artistic spirit like it does mine, then that's something that's really important, for you as an artist. So every artist is going to be different in terms of, what their art career goals are, what really nurtures them as an artist, what really nurtures their creative spirit, what really fulfills them creatively, artistically. And so you really have to get clear on all of those things and try to figure out, just by trying things, what works for you. But it doesn't mean to say that Oklahoma won't work for you, right? Or wherever you are, speaking to everybody. If you live in a rural area and that is your hometown and you are never going to leave and you just love, love, love it, and all your friends and your family are there and that is super fulfilling to you, then yes, by all means, stay there. And you can definitely find so many opportunities and so many ways to make that work for yourself, whether it's online or not. There are so many national organizations that you can become a member of and enter paintings into those shows. It may mean that you end up traveling a little bit more to those things, to be around other artists for that time, to, network and to exhibit your work and things like that. But there's really just so many opportunities no matter where you are living nowadays. So going back to Connecticut, eventually we did leave Connecticut and move back to my home state, which was Oklahoma. And yes, in comparison, in terms of like the local and regional art opportunities, in comparison, Connecticut was a much more rich area for those kind of opportunities. There was just so much more to participate in, and therefore, ability usually to make, more money or get your art seen more. Versus Oklahoma, there was far fewer of those sorts of things, far fewer art organizations, art associations. Now, there are some, obviously, but there's not a lot, And then, of course, in the West, everything is like so far away, so to drive from Oklahoma to Dallas, might be 4 hours, to go to Missouri, and then you've got Kansas up above. Not much there either in terms of art, So that's kind of the nature of the West, is everything is more spread out here in the United States. So it would take longer, to kind of have a broader reach regionally, take more travel time, more effort, all that kind of stuff. And again, if that's something that you are willing to do and willing to make it work that way, then by all means, go for it and do it. So you also don't have to stay, you can live in one place, but you also don't have to keep your art confined, to one place. There's a whole big world out there, my friends, and a whole lot of people that would want to see your art and want to buy your art. So you can stay in a small place, but don't stay small yourself, and don't keep your opportunities and your possibilities small just because you live in a smaller community, right? And then also I would say, don't underestimate your smaller community. You could definitely make a good living in your community some way, somehow, And it's just a matter of like experimenting and trying things and finding out what works, for you. You could have your own studio opening shows where you invite, your community to. There's just so many things that you can do. So it's just a matter of like opening up our minds to those possibilities. Now, one thing I want to, kind of mention is the power to reframe our thinking. And this is something that I didn't used to do either. So when I left Oklahoma, there was a number of reasons why I did move from Oklahoma, but one of them was when I moved from there to here in Denver. One of the reasons was at the time that I thought, well, there's going to be more art opportunities in Denver. There's more artists there, there's more artists my age there. There's more galleries there. At the time I was in a gallery in Evergreen, Colorado. So I thought, okay, and they were selling pretty well for me at the time. And so I thought, yeah, so I already have that gallery, then I can get into some other galleries and, maybe I can do better there, maybe because it's a bigger city, maybe there's more students available, all that kind of stuff. So that was part of my reasoning at the time. And the interesting part for me is like whenever we did move here, you never know, you really never know what's coming or you never really know what's going to happen, right? But when we moved here, it's interesting because the gallery I was in, they were ready to retire and they closed up shop. So the one gallery that I was in was no longer available to me, right? And so I lost, that gallery. I lost, the paintings, the money I was making from being in that gallery. And then, I started going to a lot of the local gallery openings and shows and whatnot. And I started talking to the gallery owners, and I was quickly realizing like there is no room, for more artists. Like they were not open to, taking in more artists. And I understand why, because they already had so many, and from what I understand, many of them were struggling to, sell the artists that they had. So they weren't really looking for anybody new. And then my work was so traditional, and a lot of the work here in these galleries were very much more contemporary looking, right? So they might have been representational painting, but it was much more contemporary looking. So, long story short, I did make the decision to move here based on that. And then once I got here, I realized, oh, that's not working. Surprise, that's not going to work. And life is kind of like going, we want you to go this way. We want you to go this way. You need to move this way. And so that's whenever I started, signing up for courses and working with coaches and business instructors on, starting my online art business, learning how to sell my paintings online, learning how to build my email list online, promote well on social media, start teaching online, because I was also, part of my income came from teaching, and I did love teaching, but I was very limited in what I could do with teaching online. So pretty much all of the forces were like, go this way, Kelly, go this way, try this. This is not, the old way is not working for you, and I just think, if we can get quiet enough and just listen to ourselves enough and ask good questions, then we do have inner wisdom, and our intuition will guide us, and those also, I believe, those higher forces will guide us. If you want to call it God, the universe, fate, destiny, whatever you want to call it, it's something is there saying, go this way, this is the path for you. So that and the last thing I want to leave you all with is that power of the reframe. Reframing our thoughts, reframing our thinking around a problem, right? Because sometimes what we do as human beings is we'll really zero in on a problem, right? And we'll only see like the problem, right? We'll only see the problem, and we think there's like that's all that exists is the problem, right? Like artists can't make it in Oklahoma. Or so many artists are leaving Oklahoma, so it must be hard. It's harder here to make it as an artist in Oklahoma. Okay, fair enough. That there may actually be some truth to that, right? Depending on where you live, but there's always like more than one way to look at something. And again, the beauty of living in 2022 is that there are, infinite possibilities, my friends, for you as artists. Infinity. The possibilities are infinite, right? And so when you really switch your thinking and you really look at a problem and go into problem solving from that place, right? From that infinite place, from the place of possibility, and opportunity and expansion and growth, so much more is going to come to you rather than like, there's not enough opportunity here, I can't make it work. If they couldn't make it work, I certainly can't make it work. That sort of mentality is just not going to get you anywhere, any of us anywhere. And so here's what I recommend in these situations, and what I have learned really the hard way. What I've learned is reframing, and using really good questions in order to do that. So when I have a problem, instead of I have to get myself off of that particular problem, and I have to get myself into problem solving and into like an open creative place, right? A non-attachment, no judgment, creative curiosity sort of place of being, right? In my mind. I've got to get off the problem. So sometimes you might not be able to do it in that moment. You might have to go take a walk, or, wait until later in the day if like your brain is just really on that problem and stuck in fear, stuck in scarcity, really like at a low, maybe a negative, place. So you may have to wait till later to do this because you just can't get there, right? So you may have to wait until you're feeling a little more calm, a little more open and relaxed and positive to do this. But what I do recommend once you're there is that you ask questions like, what if it were possible for me to make a living in Oklahoma? How would it be possible for me to make a living, fill in the blank, wherever you live, right? Whatever country, whatever town, whatever city. How could I make a living living in this place? What is available to me in order to make a living in this place? Okay, because reality is not fixed, right? So it does not matter. You are not limited by your position on this planet, right? And that really truly is the beauty of living in 2022. It is the truth. You do not have to be limited to this point in time and space where you're at in this earth body on this planet, right? So don't let it limit you. Like, you can live in a small town if that's what you love, but don't think small and don't be small. You don't have to be a small person in a small town. If you love living in a small town, that feeds your soul. It feeds your creativity. It gives you the space and time to create. You love your community. You love your family. Stay there, my friend. If that is right for you. It was not right for me, but that does not mean it's not right for you. But don't be small and don't think small. If you do, you are going to be the one limiting your possibilities, right? And there is no limitation to your possibilities. There just isn't. Okay? And I know that firsthand, and I know the truth of that. I don't live in Denver now because Denver pays my bills. Denver people, the region of Colorado, I make hardly any money from anybody around here. My entire livelihood comes from online. Okay? So don't be somewhere, don't be somewhere out of need or out of scarcity, or don't go somewhere out of fear. and of course, eventually my dream goal is to be living in Paris, right? Because that would be like the ultimate fulfillment for me is to live in Paris, because it just feeds my creative soul, and I love all of the beauty there and all of that. So, but for now, I am here in Denver. My earth suit body is here in Denver, but I am not dependent on Denver. Okay. So I just want to leave you guys with that. Try to reframe the way that you're looking at your problems. Ask those questions. How can I? What is available to me? How could I? Questions like that, and take some time and journal. When you do that, when you get still and quiet and you journal and you write down everything that comes to your mind and don't censor a damn thing, like just let it all come out. Don't censor any of it. I guarantee you, oh my gosh, you're going to have such a long list of possibilities, things to try, things to look into. Okay, I need to look into that. Let's check that out. Let's research that. I need to reach out to this artist and ask them this question about how they did that. You're going to have such a list of possibilities. It does not mean that everything on that list is going to work. But you know what? I truly believe that everything that we do try that comes from those lists, even if they themselves do not work out in the long run, they lead to the next right thing. They lead to the next right thing, right? So you have to get in the habit of listening to your inner wisdom and really, focusing on those creative solutions. Okay, artists, thank you so much for being here today. I hope that this was helpful to you as always. And if you have any questions or comments, please email in at info@artlifewithkelly, KELLI.com, and let me know. And until next time, I'm wishing you all happy painting. Bye.